Oh my. Hello guys, and welcome here to the revival of the Daily Quest. Now, since it's been 10 months since the show has existed, let us get the introductions and the explanations out of the way. So if you've never seen the show, or you've never been to my channel, YouTube, or Twitch, my name is Solid Jake. I'm a Heroes of the Storm commentator. I commentated BlizzCon, Europe Champs, North America Champs, and I've been around for about a year making stuff for Heroes. Now, the Daily Quest was a series I started about a year ago, intending to really echo what Day 9 did for StarCraft, the Day 9 Daily, where it was designed to be educational for new players, but still valuable for experienced players that want to level up their game. And the main reason that the show stopped is basically every time they patched or hotfixed or anything Heroes, it would break all replay files. And they've now recently fixed that. So replay files will no longer become corrupt, and I can really just build up nice, good episodes, catalog what I plan to do moving forward, and do the show effectively. And I'm very excited to be bringing it all back. Now, I did not hit the record button, so that makes me very sad, but that's okay, because it's here on Twitch and we can make it work. Now, this is the return of the Daily Quest, and we're going to be talking about Nova. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to follow a pro player in a tournament. It was actually Enter the Storm, qualifier number 6 for America. Now, if you want to watch the pro games, that's on youtube.com/Caldor. I'll try to include a button here. Yeah, that cool YouTube stuff. Nice. But right now, I don't have a graphic for it. It's youtube.com/Caldor. All the VODs are there, but this match was particularly interesting to me because in the most recent patch of Heroes of the Storm, they changed the scaling, which has had a huge impact on the game, but they also changed Gathering Power. They made Gathering Power a talent that kind of allows a hero to get fed, but they can lose it if they die. So it's high risk, high reward. Essentially, if you get kills, it gives you more ability power, and it's quite strong on a few heroes. In particular, I like the implication that it has on Nova. Now, speaking about Nova just generally, she's a hero that is widely popular on ladder for quick match, right? She is a menace to new players because she is an ambush hero. Very high damage, and she sneaks up on you. If you're not used to watching for the shimmer, she blows you up very quickly. But in competitive, at the highest level, she is almost unheard of. But there's a bit of potential now that Gathering Power is back in the game, because if you're very careful, if you're very meticulous with your positioning and you manage to play her well enough, or you think you can just right out outplay your opponents, she can become so powerful. 30% additional ability power is actually just insane. So she has like this great potential, especially going into the late game. And we actually saw this actually unfold in Enter the Storm this past weekend. So without any further delay, let's actually just boot up the replay and see what we have to look at here. Now, in this matchup, we see Team 1. That's the team we're going to be following. We're actually going to be watching specifically from Nova's point of view, where it's Nova, Leoric, Uther, Raynor, and ETC. But on the opposite side, there's Kael'thas, Sylvanas, Diablo, Karazim, and Sonya. And I think one of the things to really just note is, yes, there's a fair amount of stuns. 3 in total. You have to watch for Gravity Lapse, you have to watch for Diablo and just Shadow Charge and Flip, and Sonya has Ancient Spear, so I guess that's 4. And then Wailing Arrow, that's a big danger for Nova as well if she happens to get clipped by that. But there's also a fair number of squishy targets. Kael'thas, if caught with his pants down, will get blown up very quickly. Sylvanas, although she has Haunting Wave, it's not immediate, and she's going to take a lot of damage if Nova bursts her down. And then Sonya and Karazim, I mean, they're both melee. They both are kind of harder to kill, but they are definitely weak against extreme burst if ambushed with, their pants down. So let's actually get this replay rolling, and we're going to set it up, and we're going to watch Nova's point of view. Now, Arthalon, he's driving Nova, and there's a few different styles that you can play with Nova. Now, people in the past would always grab Envenom at level 4. We've seen people go for the double clones and go for the damage on your clone so that you have the lethal decoy. And he goes a bit of a hybrid down the road, but it's pretty much what you'd expect. Level 1, he's going to go for Ambush Snipe, but let's actually just take a look at the full build here. It's going to look something like this. So he's going to go for Ambush Snipe in this game. Then he's going to pick up Gathering Power. That's like the big focus we're having here. If you can stay alive, you can get quite powerful. And then he's going for the Anti-Armor Shells, Precision Strike. Now, Precision Strike, that's an AoE ability. with, again, increased ability power, is going to be quite painful to take all that damage. He does end up going for the lethal decoy at level 13, just a little bit more damage, and it can make the clones a bit more confusing. You might think that the clone is the real Nova since you took damage from it. You can sometimes slip up your opponents even at the highest level. Crippling shot there at level 16, just giving himself even more control in the fight. It's going to make him that much more dangerous because not only is it survivability because it has the slow on it, but it helps you lock down your target. And at 20, you will generally go with Rewind. But that one's kind of up for grabs, right? You want to go for Bolt. It's good. Double Precision Strike, it could be considered, but Rewind is just so very powerful. Let's hide that here. And right off the bat, I mean, just a lot of aggression. You see Novas playing generally just the rotation game, going between the two lanes, never staying in one lane, and this is really how you should be playing the hero. You don't want them to ever get complacent saying Nova's in bottom. You want them to be guessing, where is Nova, where is Nova, where is Nova? Well, they found her, and they killed her. Shame on Arthlon getting picked out, but that's just one of those scenarios. He knew that they might know where he was. He just didn't respect the power of Diablo, and then Shadow Charge with the flip. He got blown up quickly here, but it's early enough. It doesn't really matter that much. Sure, early game deaths have a significant impact on the game. You can see they're half a level down, and this is something that has become more and more impactful as of the recent patch. It feels like the early game deaths in particular are far more punishing due to the longer death timers, but all things considered, they are doing pretty well in terms of just keeping up. Now, they're just down the single kill. In Arthlon, a lot of Nova players wouldn't do this, and I like this call by Arthlon. A lot of Nova players would have immediately gone and stalked and lurked and watched around the other Immortal, just waiting for someone to maybe step out of line so they could throw a combo out. But there's such a focus on this objective in general, just the amount of lane presence you get by taking out the Immortal first. So I like the fact that Arthlon is just throwing his damage out. Sure, he doesn't have the most sustained damage in the game, but he has plenty, and he's just sitting here safely poking away at the opponent's Immortal. The moment he sees they might be putting their pressure on, trying to find him out of position, he just backs away, gets ready to go into the shadows, but he sees this opportunity here, just going to put some pressure on Aragi, and then step back on in, and they will get this first Immortal, just barely, but due to Arthlon sticking to it, it works out well. And I mean, honestly, this is just something we should talk about here. I don't know what that sound effect was. It didn't sound good, but it's okay. Windows 10 confuses me. Now, let's just pause and recapture all of that. Most Nova players will roam around in those situations desperately looking for kills. Like, when I say desperate, I mean like they think that's their only possible role in the game. But Arthlon knew that he could safely poke and poke and poke, and he is the only reason they successfully got that Immortal. Now, early level Nova, it's going to be Diablo and Sonya in the front line. She has to go so far into the back line to try to find Kael'thas, try to find Sylvanas or Kharazim to even maybe potentially kill them. But guess what? It's almost it's so unlikely that she's actually going to get the kill, and it's so much more risky for her to do that. Chances are that she would be the one that ends up dying in those situations, and the fact that Arthlon just said, you know what, during this point in time, positioning is too tricky, it's too hard to find someone out of position, I'm just going to focus on the Immortal. It's the right call to make in those kind of scenarios. You always have to weigh the risk and the reward of that exact moment. All right, well, now that they've won the Immortal, it looks like it's going to go to the bottom lane, and he's just making his way down here with his team, looking to apply that damage. Now, just stepping forward, doing the combo on biceps, takes a lot of damage himself, needs to heal, but they nicely stun Aragi in the front line, but with that flip, Arth is in a bit of a bad spot, but sticking to the guns. Even with Gamer Chess on him, he's staying in there, does end up going down. So that means gathering power stacks have been sacrificed. He's not having the best early game. He's staying pretty far forward, but he's doing the damage he needs to do. So although he died, they traded effectively 3 for 1 with that kill there on Kael'thas, and it's well worth it. The Immortal made it through the wall. They're going to take out this bottom well, and Arthlon is back in action. Experience dead even when it comes down to it, but structurally they have the advantage. Now, the reason experience is so even is due to Sonya just getting a little bit extra soak in the top lane over their opponents. And the one benefit here on the side of our blue team is just the fact that they didn't do any damage to the wall at all. So That's going well for them, but Arthlon, he's sitting at 0 gathering power stacks. Now you can see that here on the left. 0% ability power, current stack count, 0. So he's got some work to do if he wants to actually take advantage of this level 4 talent. If you had gone for Envenom, you have that award immediately. But, you know, just trying to poke away, damaging Sylvanas, or excuse me, Sonya here in the top lane, it's nice. It's just providing the threat. And again, now rotating down to the bottom lane, looking to make something else happen. Now, note this. Here's the other cool thing about Nova. Generally, you wouldn't end up seeing any kind of vision spells picked up, but they're actually going for that. They actually cast the Clairvoyance there right in the middle. That was actually Karazim's Foresight, and that's a talent that was picked up reactionarily to Nova. So when you play these ambush heroes that have such an impact, they know the power of a late game fed Nova. They spent a talent just in response to their pick. So it's already a small victory. That is not the button I wanted to press. Nice. It's already a small victory for them, considering they just saw that talent was used in this game. But level 7 around the corner, we'll see how the teams decide to spec. Now it should be our anti-armor shells here for Nova at level 7. The other options, of course, I mean, she does have one in the chamber, explosive round, and covert ops. But I would expect to see the anti-armor shells. And there it is. Anti-armor shells picked up. We see Urho barely getting out of here, and Arthlon staying very forward in this fight. Not really all that afraid, knowing that Diablo is so low. He's the one that can really collapse on her. Arth in his face, even standing on the point. And that was just having a lot of trust in your team. Now, in Quick Match, I don't know if I would personally play that far forward as Nova, but Arthlon just knowing his limits with his allies, and now he's starting to pick up those kills. So suddenly, going from having 0 stacks there on his gathering power, he now has 3. That gives him 6% additional ability power, and it just is going to repeatedly make him stronger in this game. Now, if you get a little bit later, you start to get Precision Strike at level 10. If you have, say, 10% ability power, that's 10% more AoE damage on your heroic. I mean, all your other abilities aside, that can have a huge impact on the game and is very beneficial. So, looking at the Immortals right now, I mean, it's 50% health advantage just about here for our team, and Arth just steps in, he throws his abilities out, and backs away till he knows he's safe. Once he sees them going to the bottom part of the map, he rotates down aggressively. Urho with the beautiful safe stop in the gravity lapse. That would have been lights out for Nova for sure. But he knows his limits. His team are peeling for him left and right. This double warrior is a crucial part of this composition, and Arth is just continuing to press on. Again, I want to stress, he's not flanking the whole time. He's poking at the Immortal as often as he can, and when he thinks he's at risk, he really goes far away. He goes deep into the backside, gets back into his cloak, and then he comes back in battle shot, haunting waves way into the backside, will get blown up, putting our Nova now at 6 gathering power stacks, and level 10 still hasn't even been reached. So again, ability power getting a bit out of hand, make that 14% ability power, and they're going to have a near full power Immortal. Now, a few things to take into consideration. Don't spend all of your time flanking into enemy lines. It's fine to just fight over the objective like a normal assassin, right? We've seen this. He's been in the front, just, in plain sight quite frequently in this game, and it's working out fine overall. Yes, he died twice early on in the game, but since then, I mean, the peel has been better. ETC has just been doing wonders. I mean, he's got the rolling like a stone, and he picked up double neck guitar, so it just gives him that much more peel, and specifically using that to keep Nova alive as often as possible. And of course, Uther does have protective shield, and with Hammer of Justice, I mean, generally that's going to be enough. But you throw on Raynor with the with the pierce there, the precision, and overall, I mean, it's working out well. On the opposite side, though, I mean, what could they be doing differently? they don't have a whole lot of burst sustain. Maybe Protective Shield on Karazim would have been nice, but they already went for the reveal. They went for Foresight, trying to get eyes on Nova. So that's the only other option they have for sustainability. Netherwind was picked up on Kael'thas to try to get those lockdowns more effectively. And really, that's the options they have. Precision Strike does a ridiculous amount of damage there. You can see with that 40% ability power, which is now, they're now up to 9 kills, so make that 18% ability power. And at this point, Nova has already reached, she's not even at full power, but she's already reached the point where it's like, you almost have to lose a team fight hoping that all you do is kill Nova. Like, that is how impactful Gathering Power can be in this game. She's strong enough at this point where she just, like Aragi, if he gets hit by all these abilities, yeah, just absolutely melts in this fight. In the backside, we see Kraji taking a lot of damage himself, and Nova's just poking away, doing all the damage in the world. Looking at the stats in this game, she's only at 17,000, but it's burst damage. It's really just that ambush burst damage, which is so much harder to sustain through, especially when your opponents just have Karazim. And Karazim, they're getting heroics now. Does he even go for Divine Palm? Is he confident that he can, really predict? He's thinking about it right now. Can he predict this massive burst damage well enough to throw the Divine Palm down and save his allies? Or should he just go for Seven-Sided Strike to try to negate the potential of a mosh pit and just punch him while he's doing it? If Leoric overextends too far, do all the huge damage to him. He's still considering that ability at this point. And Nova's on a rampage. She's up to 11 kills with Gathering Power. That's 22% ability power for all of her abilities. And she's got to be pretty happy. Arthalon feeling good. Now, a few things to consider. Just because Gathering Power has a strong implication, just because it makes Nova really scary when she's all fed and farmed up, does not mean that we will see her rise in popularity. I don't think Nova is going to be a first pick by any means. This was a last pick, right? Nova was kind of like that trump card at the end of their draft. And, Sylvanas manages to slip away. Arthalon lurking in the backside. Again, first time he's ever looked for a flank and immediately decides, no, it's not worth the risk. Steps back on out, Precision Strike zoning them out. It does hit Game Chess, but Kraji is going to be the target. Just one snipe takes about a third of his health, it looks like. But Nova, she does pick up the 1 kill, 24% ability power, biceps. The snipe just shredding through him. And Arth just staying in the backside. Now, Gravity Lapse was just used. That's why Arthalon is getting so aggressive. But he has to be careful for Foresight. Oh, he splits up his damage. If he hit Game Chest, it would have been a kill. But he actually ended up hitting Kael'thas with his actual snipe in that situation. Still forcing them into just too low of health pools right now. They managed to take out the keep, and it's time to retreat. Arthalon gets revealed, but they have the peel. Look, you see Raynor steps back. He gets the snipe out, pushing them away, and the team will retreat happily. Now, looking at the kills, they're 5 to 15, so they're down 1/3. With McIntyre falling, that's a nice win. They stop the dance there on Urho, but now they've spent so much. They lost Diablo, their main source of peel, and Arthalon can look for a pickoff. If they do a step out of line, he could easily find someone, but he's just going to opt to go the safe route. He's been doing this all game long, going for the objective, going for the sustained damage. He's not running into the backside. He's not hanging out at the Bruiser camp where they could be right now, right? They could be down at the bottom lane, going for that siege camp. They could be getting ready to push out the bottom lane. They're not doing any of that stuff. And he's not wasting his time looking for them. He has eyes on Sylvanas, he has eyes on Sonya, and he's making his way down. Oh, but the moment he steps forward, his team is with him. So they're moving as one. They get a beautiful entomb there. That is a dead Sonya. Nope, there she goes. 2 heroes down, and now we have a fully fed Nova. 30% ability power for everything she does. And this is not something that's easy to do, especially in a tournament at a highest level. I mean, these are all top level gamers here in the NA scene. I mean, there's not a single reason for a Nova to really be able to do this so easily. But Arthalon has played so. Look, he's forced to use Seven-Sided Strike just to try to stay alive. One combo for Nova is pretty much an insta-kill. It's insane. I mean, in Heroes of the Storm, you don't get fed, right? It's not like League of Legends where you can have a carry and that carry gets really fed. It can can just pretty much annihilate the enemy team. This is the closest thing to that, and that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. Nova is just put such a massive weight off the team's shoulders, and she can pretty much eliminate a single hero every fight and then just walk away, come back in 6 to 8 seconds later and do it again. And if they do not manage to kill her, well, it's going to be a pretty short game. We're 13 minutes in and they're looking for the kills. Now, Apocalypse will actually connect on Arthlon, a bit of an indecision as to which way to go. I don't know if it would have mattered there. But Entomb locking in Sonya. Precision Strike doing ridiculous damage. Almost all of Bicep's health, it looked like. Raynor should be able to finish that off. We see Kroji all by himself. He will end up dying. 7-sided strike used desperately in the back. There is nowhere for him to blink to with Radiant Dash. He just has to blink onto Nova, who makes quick work of him. And that is 3 members down. This could very well be a death push. I mean, Gathering Power is a cool ability. There are a few heroes that could benefit from it greatly. You think about Nazebo. A Nazebo with Ravenous Spear in the backside with 30% additional damage. That's way more damage than you wanna take in a battle. But with Nova, it's about the burst. And for the first time, she realizes how greedy she can be. 30% damage, blows up Kael'thas like he's nothing. 3 of them are down. McIntyre gets the heal at the last moment. Araragi backing away the best he can, but the snipe is going to come out and shred him into pieces. And that is going to be a desperate 7-sided strike used every single time in desperation in this game. And a clean 1-for-5 kill. The GG is called. And the power of Gathering Power Nova shown off. So, let's talk. Let us talk about this very quickly. Now, again, that is the build that we see here. You've got the Ambush Snipe, Gathering Power, Anti-Armor Shells, Precision Strike, Lethal Decoy, Crippling Shot, and he doesn't even get to those level 20 talents. Probably would have been Rewind in this situation. And some of you might be saying, well, Nova's OP, right? No, not quite. Nova's definitely not OP. And I don't even think that we'll see Nova really rise in popularity too much. I just think she's going to be a nice counter. And there's a few situations that are going to make her very powerful. In the event that your enemy team does have a Murky, say you're playing Hero League, and they draft Murky. Well, Nova actually gets a full Gathering Power stack every time you kill Murky. And Murky has such a small health pool that if he's already used his bubble, then you can kill him very quickly. Additionally, Lost Vikings are a very similar case. They often split up between multiple lanes and they have split focus. So they can't actually see you because you're cloaked. And you can then just find the Lost Vikings and pick them off. And this is another great way to really just amplify your ability power with Gathering Power through those heroes. But even just heroes that have squishier health pools, you think about Sylvanas and Kael'thas. They're 2 great targets, and they're a big part of why Nova was so successful here. And Kharazim. Kharazim doesn't have the same kind of control as the other supports. He doesn't have a stun. He doesn't have a root. And if he's caught out of position, he just has to hope he can survive and Radiant Dash away. And if Nova was a little bit less empowered, like in the early game, Kharazim would probably win a 1v1. Just Transcendence alone and just punching Nova in the face, Kharazim could probably do a pretty good job in those fights and trade relatively evenly. So that's why you didn't see Arthlon really doing that too much in the game. He just waited, he focused on the objectives, and once he started to get some of those kills, he put that emphasis on killing the enemy team as often as possible. I mean, even just looking back at the game, we see 3 people picked up Spell Shield. I mean, how many talents can one hero force your enemies to pick? I mean, who else has spell power? Like, these are not ability power heroes. It's just Nova. And you force 3 people to go Spell Shield just to try to negate it. You force out Foresight. So there's definitely some cool strengths and some cool things that Nova brings to the game. And I just thought this was a really cool example. I saw the match happen this past weekend, and I was like, you know what? Daily Quest has been long overdue. We're going to bring it back, and this was just something fun I wanted to point out. Now, Blizzard has hinted that they might be making some changes to Nova, but I don't think they're going to change Gathering Power, and I really hope that they keep it on her because I think it makes perfect sense for her to have it. I think it's really a nice compliment to the style of play that she has in general, and it's just really rewarding if you manage to stay alive throughout the game, and I do love that element to it. But I'm excited to see what other kind of tweaks they might make to future heroes, because they have hinted at Nova and Artanis maybe getting a bit of love, or a bit of tweaks at the very least in the near future. But yeah, I mean, that's overall the deal with Nova. Don't think we'll see her a lot in pro play, but obviously seeing her busted out here could see her rise again. She will remain a huge presence here on Hero League, or excuse me, Quick Match, but Hero League probably not so much. But just remember, if you see Gathering Power, when you're facing a Nova, make sure to check your opponent's talents. I mean, that's just a good tip in general. If you're playing heroes, and you should always be like kind of looking at the style of builds your enemy team is using. And if you notice that Nova has Gathering Power and you have an option in a team fight, well, I can kill Nova or I can kill Jaina. Always put that preference to kill Nova, because it affects her even more. The death timers are going to be the same, but Nova losing Gathering Power stacks is going to have that much more of an impact when you do kill her. But yeah, that's going to be it here for the Daily Quest number 20. And basically moving forward with the show, I mean, I'm still feeling it out, because it's been 10 months since I've done this style of show. I'm still feeling it out, getting my groove with how I want to do it. I'm probably normally going to do multiple replays per episode, breaking down maybe 2 styles of one hero. The ideal goal for the show is to do episodes focused on specific heroes, right? We're going to, like, this was the Nova episode. We'll do episodes focused on maps, in the way to really take advantage of your map fully. So maybe Towers of Doom will come very soon. That's an idea I would really like to flesh out. 10 months ago, I made one on mercenary camps. I'll probably rehash that and make a new one that's really just how to maximize your ability with all mercenary camps in the game, and just kind of, just really get the most out of the secondary objectives being the merc camps, and so on and so forth. If you guys have suggestions, or if you guys have crazy replays that you think would be worth taking a look at, you can definitely submit me the replays at solidjakegg@gmail.com. And there will be some episodes where I effectively just commentate matches submitted by viewers, where I take those matches, I commentate it, but in an educational way. So I'll do a full normal commentary of the match as it happens, but I will then pause the game and then like kind of recap fights and point out things that could have been done a bit more effectively, to try to just teach things like body blocking a little bit better, positioning, decision making, what you should have done, XYZ, and that style of content. Bam! Well, you know what? I think that's pretty much all I have to say. We're going to cut the VOD here, and then we'll play some video games. Thanks for tuning into the Daily Quest number 20. We'll be back tomorrow with 21.